right. What's up, mofos? We got with us here Texas Premier Polishing, Kevin, and his homeboy, Abdul Thickbeard.
Abdul Thickbeard.
Abdul Thickbeard, a.k.a. Brian Thickbeard, Centex Polishing. Welcome to Maverick Abrasive, boys.
Oh, love it, man. Appreciate you having us, man.
So, what brings you cocksuckers out to California? You can bleep all this shit out, I assume. Right?
Yeah.
Man, to be honest, man, this is something I've wanted to see for a very long time. You know what I mean? We've been back and forth, obviously, over the internet for the past few years, but this is where it really started for me. I used to buy products here years ago, so this is something that I really wanted to check off my checklist to see how everything's made.
Hey, before we get too far into the podcast, I just want to make sure, do I look like anywhere near as cool as Mr. Thickbeard here?
Not a chance. Not a fucking
no,
chance.
so should I just give up and take off the glasses?
Well, this is just natural.
He's just a natural cool, huh?
Just born like this. I got it from the Lord.
I'm in my comfort zone.
He's in a zone.
Brought to you by Relentless.
All right, that's right. So many of the audience may know, and a lot of people probably don't, because we go way back in the polishing days. Actually, Kevin Clapp was a customer, still now is a customer again, but way back in the day was a customer of Maverick Abrasives, way before there even was a Renegade, before before there was any conception or insemination or any of that kind of stuff. It was just at that time it was Matchless Metal Polishing was your original name, and you had to change it up a little bit because they bullied you around a little bit on that.
I told them to fuck off, and then they told me to do that, so I had to.
But they had more fuck you money, I guess.
100-year-old patent.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Copyright, so it isn't bad.
Yeah, I dig it. And so when did you actually? So you made that change in what, 15 or 14?
Yeah, it was February 1st, 2015.
2015.
I went with Zephyr, and I've been with them for the last several years.
Well, that's when you went to Zephyr. When did you actually change from Matchless to Texas Premier?
Oh, that was 2016.
Oh,
no, it would be 2015 as well.
Oh, okay.
I got new DBAs, went around and decided I kicked around, and I had a list of all these prestigious names, and finally I go through all these names, and Premier was the one that really popped out to me, and I think the name change has been huge for me too.
Sure. And then you're also known as Texas Polishing, though, or is that just?
That's my Instagram handle.
That's your handle.
Know me
okay.
as Texas Polishing. My website's Texas Polishing. So
copy, yeah. And then you have with you Brian Brian is Centex Polishing, and so just so that people understand out there, how are you why are you both here versus this is something about Kevin Clapp and Texas Polishing.
Well,
why don't you guys fill in the blanks on that?
That's kind of a long story.
That's all right.
So I'll give you the brief version. Excuse the interruption. So in 2017, 18, I left Syria, went to Afghanistan, and I used to watch Kevin's videos on polishing as therapeutic escape amongst the craziness. So I got interested. I was like, man, I want to do that. So I came home on break and went to see Kevin and polished there.
That was about what, 16 at this point, or 17?
No, it was probably beginning of 2018.
Oh, 18, okay.
Yeah, about 2018 beginning, and I started polishing there and took a little class from him, and I did a car show locally in Lubbock. Kevin and I judged it, and the last day of the show, his wife bought out her sister.
I had nothing to do with it.
Always the women.
Yeah,
nothing to do with it.
Essentially what they did was kind of trap me,
You think it was intentional? You think it was set up? I was going to ask you, think there's something there?
No.
I don't know, but with a guy like myself, I mean, how can you say no, right? But
Abdul,
they gotta have him. No, it was a great experience and time, and we kept in contact amongst several trips overseas, and man, I wasn't looking for love, but I definitely found it.
And it wasn't here's what's cool about Brian. Brian came to my training class initially to learn how to polish, just like these other guys do. I've trained thousands of people already. And it's he had a different drive. So as he stayed around and hooked up with Mandy, my sister,
right.
that it's he got to learn brass and copper and stainless and paint correction, gel coat repair, anything and everything, all the different coatings. We went to different certifications
So it was a good sponge for some
he
knowledge.
Got, when I say that he would be my protege, he's my protege. He knows absolutely everything. Just like some of these guys that work in my shop, he didn't just learn the basics. He came and learned absolutely everything. And then we traveled the nation and did it on the highest level.
Yeah, and that's what people, I think a lot of people kind of, when they see Brian Arthur, a.k.a. Thickbeard, on the polishing side, Centex is, he's just, it's because of Kevin. But people don't understand, like, I spent hours upon hours of failing at polishing and being corrected by, in my opinion, one of the greatest in the industry, And it wasn't like, don't use this or don't use that. It was use what works, And, time passed. And again, like Kevin said, we traveled all around. From metal to glass to NHRA dragsters, to acrylic.
So, Kevin, I'm going to ask you, because you're, obviously both a professional polisher, and we'll get into it a little bit later, of course, as far as, your future plans. But you have trained people in the past, and that's going to be a growing part of Texas Premier Polishing's futures. The actual continued education of not only polishers that have experience, but really new polishers that want to get into understanding how everything works in the game. And is it like, not that I'm here to fluff Abdul or anything like that, but it's like, did you find, I find Brian, I think one of the things going for him is like, and this may be because of just all your career, in the service, I just find him very disciplined, and I think that's kind of what's helped me over the years, although, I did not serve, but, I just feel like, you're disciplined, you have a way of doing things, you just kind of like, you go on it, and I think that's kind of one of the elements of success.
No doubt about it. And going back to the training, man, it's not that I don't have the fire to do it every day. I'm getting old. My body's taking a toll doing this for 15 years. It's man, the drive that I and the passion I have right now to teach the new generation of polishers is where the fire is really lit under my ass. You know what I mean? So I really enjoy teaching everyone. You don't come out there, everything that I know, I try to teach you guys. You know what I mean? So some of these guys that you follow on Instagram that everyone thinks are some of the greatest polishers out there once started at my place doing a training class. You know what I mean? Now that I've taken it more serious and moved into these new facilities, I think I've adapted and got some of that's rubbed off on me, some of the steadiness and the and the having a set routine and responsible. You know what I mean? So with me, I'm me, you know what I mean? So
you're right.
I work all day, every day, so that's not going to change. But if I could really drive it, it brings more people to me to train. It also drives more business towards the distributor, making these new polishers and stuff. It's a virtually untapped market, so we want to be able to help everyone. That's why we want to, maybe do some classes here in the future, as well as different places throughout the nation. Right.
So for the audience, what Kevin is alluding to, essentially, of course, is his new facility in Lubbock, which has got a tell us a little bit about that. Like, what do you where were you, and like where like what is the new place, and what are you planning on doing?
It was a big deal for me. I've been in a glorified storage unit for almost 6 years. When I moved from another smaller glorified storage unit, but I made it a nice shop. I had two 40x60s ran together and all this, had good security. I could put a biggest trailer I wanted in there, but I never had what I wanted. You know what I mean? I never had a shop, and I don't have any walk-in business. I don't have a sign out front. My phone rings all day from the work that I put in and the work that I've done for the last 15 years. So, but man, it's just, I wanted more, really trying to secure my future. So this building I've had an eye on came available. The landlord also kind of pissed me off with towing some equipment, and that was the last straw for me. So we moved into a huge building downtown on the interstate in Lubbock. It's 10,000 square feet. I have an indoor training facility that we can get a semi in. I have a huge pull-through storefront. I have a clean room for paint correction and coatings. I have a full paint booth and body shop set up, as well as I have a driver's lounge with poker tables, pool tables, a full bar, flat screens, as well as a storefront where we'll carry everything possible from Maverick, from Combat, and Renegade.
And I know, like, Brian is involved to a certain extent on that, but just, I think, speaking about Brian, I don't think it's come up in conversation yet between you guys on the facility, but, Brian, having spent all those, so many years overseas, is probably... 15. How many?
15.
15 years. So
that's just overseas.
That's just overseas. Yeah. Never mind the rest of the service. I think what's important to Brian, though, of course, in the facility is do you have a bidet? Because he's probably used to using a bidet at this.
Yeah, I mean, we do more of Eastern toiletry.
Oh, the squat down method,
it's
huh?
Just a squat.
Joe, if you're watching this, I'm trying to see if we can get a bidet order and get that.
Actually, like a bottle of water would work great.
Just drill a hole in it.
Yeah, I mean,
smash it together.
Yeah. I mean, whatever plays it.
I'll tell you the best part about this new place I got a shower.
Oh, sweet. Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
an apartment upstairs,
yeah.
live in security. Like, this is a place I've dreamed of and the location I've dreamed of. So I'm looking forward to it, really. And we have a class as soon as we get back this weekend. We have guys that are already in Lubbock right now. We have 7 guys coming from all over the nation.
That's right. You have one this weekend.
We have one this weekend. So we do it the second weekend of
Uh-huh.
every month. And, we want everyone to come.
We're going to go back in time a little bit. We're going to reminisce. Because it's just always fun to talk about this shit, Dave. Actually, this was, I don't know, definitely before your time, Brian, as far as getting involved in our polishing scene. But polishing wars, yeah. As you know, was it Brent?
A few stories.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was crazy, man.
It
was fun.
Originally, for the audience out there that probably looking at this like combination of people and like shaking their heads, like like what's next? Jesus coming tomorrow type of thing. The whole thing honestly started between Kevin and I. For you guys out there, yes, we were going in one direction as Renegade. And Kevin at that time felt that he had and it was in fact a good opportunity for him to go forward with Zephyr at that time and move forward. And I, in spite of the fact that he went with Zephyr, I still have and still do have a great affection for Kevin. And so it's like there's really initially it was not supposed to be us versus them or you versus anybody else in particular. Initially it was just satire and humor and wit and just good old fashioned shit
social
talk.
Media platform.
And that's a great spot to do it in because it's like it's like stand up comedy in a way. So you can be the best fucking comic, to yourself in the mirror, but if there's nobody there to appreciate it and clap, well, what's the use?
The world is an audience,
you got and then we've got all the people that are followers and fans of one brand versus another brand. And I think maybe although you and I started off almost just as a satirical type of let's just kind of bullshit around, it just kind of spun out of control pretty quickly.
It did. There was a few others involved that may have helped instigate it throughout the time.
But
we kind of kept it cordial, didn't really make it personal.
Yeah.
So I think it made it easier to kind of transition to where
right.
we are now.
Yeah, and even that, even though there might have been the public display of shittery going on, but whenever Kevin and I were at a show together, we definitely made sure that we greeted each other and said hello. Now, Brian, did you catch any of that stuff back in 16 to 17, or is that just you weren't really tuned into the scene at that time?
I mean, I wasn't. I really didn't know anybody really that polishes other than the 2 people that I knew of for training.
Right. Well, when did you start following Kevin, for example? Because I'm talking about stuff that was going down probably.
Well, at that time, he probably wasn't able to have.
Well, so I mean, being with my geographical location and things that were.
Is that classified?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I can tell you where I was and a few places, but I mean, there were places that I visited for leisure.
For leisure.
I mean, 2000, late 17, early 18, as I found out, Kevin Texas premiered, and I was like, well, shit, that's fun. And at the time, I was living in Central Texas, hence the name Centex Polishing, which means Central Texas. And then I drove down from Fort Hood area up to Lubbock, and obviously I did the class, and then after the class, I started following Kevin, and then I realized, oh
shit, I got an inherited beef now.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of I'm just very comfortable with violence, so if need be,
Oh, so you're ready for marriage, so you're good.
Yeah. I'm ready for all the good stuff. No, I realized there was some type of conflict between the brands and individuals and some people.
So you finally did kind of pick up on some of that.
Yeah. I started following it a little more.
And connect the hashtags.
But, I just never really bought into any of the, people that wanted to fuel it. I don't pick sides. Hey, it is what it is. It happened before me. I don't know any details. But it was comical to read on online.
Yeah, and that was the whole purpose of it.
And it was.
That was the whole purpose. It was supposed to be comedy and satire. It was supposed to be
because you're looking at we're talking mad shit, mad shit back and forth. But in the DMs, he's like, hey, keep it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
this ain't gonna do one thing but push business one or two ways.
You read comments online, with yourself and Kevin, and you're like, man, that's pretty funny. It's like
especially the star ratings, like.
It's like
you
a
can't even
match,
deny that. That was great.
Punch for punch, and then you read some. It's just from other people. It's just.
Yeah, I think some of the and of course there's a podcast, so there's a PG rating on it. It's basically like we could talk about one, but I think there was
listen at your own risk.
Yeah, I mean at some point there was just a lot of like guys and even some gals coming in and just cockswinging, to be honest with you, just like
social media definitely tells you up taller than you
totally,
think.
That's I think a lot of people coming into the industry, they polish one piece of metal and they think they're fucking professional, which I mean, cool, bro. You can polish a billet wheel that is a month old, but take something that's completely beat up off of a concrete truck that's been on it for 4 years and turn it into something blingy, And
you'll get that. You'll get a lot of that too with the videos that we put out. It's just gonna attract new polishers. People do that, then they'll see something it's gratifying work, and then you want to shout it and scream it to the world at the same time.
That's the purpose. I'd be totally honest with you. It's like, and I mentioned to you guys, when we were talking yesterday in the shop. We were aware of the market a little bit because we had sold some of the smaller diameter wheels to some of the polishers.
Right.
But like we had kind of like really not focused on the big rig world, if you want to call it the big rig polishing world.
More industrial.
Yeah, and we were just strictly industrial. And for you guys out there, and like, well, why? It's because like you make it, 8-inch diameter wheel takes almost like it just takes a little bit, fractionally a little bit more time to make a larger diameter wheel. And so obviously, business is business.
Makes
like,
dollars, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm making, more pennies on the big wheel than the small wheel. And it's almost the same labor, and, labor is pretty expensive, as we all know.
Especially in California.
Especially here. With the workman's comp and all the insurance and stuff like that, it's just like, we're just going to focus on, 12-inch and larger diameter wheels. But as we went further into the market, we were like, this is, it's still a great market that kind of led us then to really what Renegade is like. Yes, we're known for our polishing products, compound and bust, but really I think it's the liquids that ends up being some of the jewels in the crown really moving forward for us.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are drawn to the brand because of the diversity in products. I know for me, essentially coming out, I mean, would you rather go to a company who has something for everything and you get it in one place, or go to a company that has 5 products and they're all named the same thing with a different number? It's for me, it's just that was an easy.
Yeah, I remember the initial reach out from Brian on the Renegade DM, and one of his like first comments to me was. And he was just small talk at that point, but one of the first comments that stuck out to me, which kind of verified a lot of the stuff that we're doing, is that your marketing is totally on point.
Yeah, it really is, and that's something that I've seen from afar and admired for sure.
And that's been a big deal for us. Is not only having great products for whether it's the professional user or the do-it-yourselfer. But also to have that whole lifestyle branding around it, it's like you want to be a part of this like the Renegade world because of what it means. Much like people buy certain products out there, and I'm not saying we're Gucci or anything like that, but that's kind of what we strive for. Is like that lifestyle branding.
Well, that's what you made a comment yesterday. You said we're not Hershey's, we're Godiva.
That's correct. Yes, we are.
You know what I mean? So, like you said, the reference with the glass cleaner and everything like that, as far as pricing, but like we're not. We are up on an upper class. That's what we want to do. There's the upper echelon of products. There's stuff I feel is better. I feel like they should be priced higher. And
I feel like products, like if you can buy them in mass quantities off of the shelf at AutoZone, it's probably not the best product.
Right, and that's
will it get the job done? Of course.
Of course, yeah.
But will it Is it good? Like the ingredients? I mean, probably not.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people tell us that, they've moved from other products. I'm not just talking about like Z or anything like that. I'm talking like just some of the bread and butter names out there. Once they have tried our stuff, they're like, oh man, I can tell a difference almost immediately. And, getting back to, again, what we spoke about yesterday, we are, Southern California, in particular Orange County, and in particular this part of Orange County, it's probably some of the most expensive real estate in the world for manufacturing.
Yeah, that blew my mind when you told me that.
Yeah, and it's like, we don't have a choice but to be like, Godiva. I mean, I'm not going to win a price war.
No, exactly. Otherwise, we got to shut the doors, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have to make sure that whatever's in that bottle is like, 5 stars. The branding looks great, it smells great, it works great, it feels great, and of course, encompassing all of that, which is what drives what we're doing at the shows and with our influencers and our professionals like yourselves, is that whole lifestyle branding. Because you're right, you can walk into Walmart or Costco and buy something that's probably a third less in price, if not more. But like, what are you really getting? Yeah, what are you really getting? We decided a long time ago, there's just no way we are going to be everything to everybody. So let's just be the best we can to the group of people that appreciate and understand that.
Agreed.
And that's what drives us forward. And again, the outreach is like, again, for the audience. So Kevin and I, of course, have kept in touch over the years, even though we were on, opposite sides of the field. But, the push to, bring, we still feel that, especially in the polishing world, that the level of professionalism is necessary to be included in what we're doing, because you're right, your legacy beyond just being a fantastic polisher is really, the legacy is that education that you're leaving for the people that you've trained. And that's why, a perfect example of that is Brian here, is a very accomplished artist, really doing. Is he a full-time polisher? Not necessarily, but when he picks up that grinder and hits that metal.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about me. I get DMs and calls all the time about jobs and polishing, but I was fortunate enough to join the military, and I'm recently retired, and I did a lot of private contracting, so I made my financial situation now where I can polish what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go out and polish every piece of metal, and I think a lot of people don't understand how I polish, but like you said, when I pick up a grinder, because of how I have been instructed to polish since day one,
mm-hmm.
is if it's not perfect, it doesn't go out, and that I strive for perfection, and obviously it has my name on it,
Absolutely.
So
it has your name on
anything
it,
that I touch has my name on it. I want it to be the best because, Uncle Sam instilled some values in me, and I still hold that myself
it's
accountable.
that discipline.
Yeah, that's what we say. We have minimum standards, and they're higher than everyone's.
So take us
standard
back,
operating procedures.
right? And not that I'm looking, to have you plug Kevin or Kevin's classes, but like, you brought up a minute ago. It's like, okay, so like, I've been taught from day one to do it this way. Why is that important, as opposed to like, well, you know what, I'm just going to go buy some stuff from a truck stop and just start doing it myself? Like, what's your advice to those guys and gals out there that like, hey, like, I'm considering going to Kevin's class, whether it's in Lubbock or hopefully one day we set up something out here.
Yeah.
Like, why is that such an important thing to get it trained professionally versus like, I'm going to just trial and error it?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, I would say, tips and tricks that are hidden, but there's part of the processes in which, bringing a shine that you need to know. People are saying, well, how do you do this if this happens, or how do you do that if that happens? It's, you come to class, Shine You with Kevin, and you're going to figure out real quick that he's a no bullshit type of guy. And some of the most,
we get hands on immediately.
Yeah, the most famous words, I recall vividly, if I'm out polishing by myself, is, sand it and start over. Because I used to hear that every single day. I would polish something and I would think
to hear that shit.
It's perfect, but he would come and look at it and like he's up there just shaking his head, and he'd say sand it and start over. So I think, there's things you have to do with polishing if you want that show shine. But I mean, if you want to polish, fairly decent new metal, and you call it a shine, go ahead. But I think when it comes to, do you polish or do you resurface metal, there's a difference. Anybody can make a shine, but there's obviously a process in which your lines have to lay, and
Definitely.
and it's something I told Kevin all the time is, people always seem to post and talk shit about me on Instagram. Who is this guy? He's just in Kevin's shadow, whatever. But what a lot of people don't know is they know damn well that they won't polish against me. So I polish at shows, where thousands of people are watching me. I'm comfortable with that, But I have quality. A lot of people have quantity. You can charge $40 a wheel. I'm getting $100, so it doesn't matter to me.
And it's good that you can pick and choose your business as well.
Yeah, that's what's good about us now that we've got the name that we do. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have any signs. I don't have to carry business cards anymore. I get phone calls all day long, as you can tell.
People know who you are.
They're blowing me up. I name my price. I pick and choose what I want to work on. And through that, I've really done the harder stuff. To see the cattle pots, the helicopters, the airplanes. That's what really lights the fire for me, doing something crazy. And that's what I think is what set me apart from everything. Also, the diversity. I do every type of porous metal there is. I've went and worked with the best in their fields and spent my time and my money to learn this stuff. Not just, back in the day when I started polishing with a grinder, that shit I learned by myself.
Hey, so when was that back in the day? When did you actually start?
Man, I got done playing ball and moved to Lubbock with my brother. I was probably 21. You know what I mean? And I worked at the Kirby Service Center. I didn't want to sell Kirby's door to door. My brother put me in this place, and I basically sold
Kirby. That's for the
vacuum cleaners.
Cleaners,
I would sell bags and belts, and I would fix the machines. And come with that, we would rebuild them and polish the die-cast aluminum that's on there. So with that, I figured it out. I started to get pretty good at it, and then kind of branched out. I was making $300 before taxes a week. You know what I mean? I had my first.
So was that like a little bench grinder you're using at that time?
Yeah, it was like a one-horse bench grinder, and I was working magic with it. Black as hell every day, not wearing a mask, not doing anything. I think it was matchless white, matchless brown. I never used anything different. I don't think I ever changed the buffing wheels a single, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was hard.
And that's just something you taught yourself how to do. Somebody to polish up these parts. And it was just, I guess I'll do it.
The story on that is my brother put me down there, and he's like, hey, I got a kid working down there. Learn what you can from him, and then we'll fire him in a week. I go down there, bump heads with this kid 30 minutes being in there, and I'll call my brother. He's like, fire him. Now I didn't learn shit.
You have to learn it yourself now.
Yeah, so I started taking them apart, putting them back together, taking it apart. Like I'm a student of the game, no matter what that game may be. So I started doing that. Then came time to polish. So I taught myself. There was no videos or anything out at the time. So I did that. And then it branched off to car parts and manifolds and wheels and stuff, like small stuff for doctors.
Yeah, so when was the first time you decided I'm going to pick up a grinder versus sitting on the bench?
I was still playing ball for this guy that kind of sponsored. We flew around and played baseball, and he owned a bunch of semis. And he's like, hey, can you polish my semi? I'm like, I can't fucking pick up a semi and put it on a bench grinder.
Sure.
I knew nothing about angle grinders. So he's like, no, they hold it like this. I went Harbor Freight, got a machine, totally the wrong machine. So I took it back, finally got one that was tumbling forward like you see nowadays, and it just sparked a fire under my ass. So I went
you just like it.
I liked it. You know what I mean? Now I'm doing it by hand. You can see it work. It's very gratifying work. You know what I mean? At the same time, I'm making $300 a week. You know what I mean? Before taxes, I got my first kid on the way, and now at that time, I've got a semi at the place. So now I'm polishing here outside the Kirby Service Center and kicking back my boss a little cut. You know what I mean? But now I work 1 or 2 days and I make more than twice as much as I do. So that's what sparked it, and I started to see how many trucks are on the road and all that stuff. So what I did before I ever really got invested was I went and looked to see where in my area or within 500 miles is there a polishing company, and you couldn't find one. So I knew if I trained myself and got good, I could corner the market.
You can get that market.
I could name my price. You know what I mean? So now I'm up to $1,500 to $1,800 a truck from $300. I got a guy that has my original card that says Full Metal Makeover, $300, and there's only one card out there. So you keep that card in your wallet, and every fucking time you come down here, I will do it for $300.
That's fantastic.
And that card is all wore out and faded out, but you can still barely see it's my card, but it just tells a story.
So as polishers, it's your career, it's your job, and a lot of people, of course, hopefully watching this have seen what polishing is like, and of course how I don't want to say it is physically abusive, but it's it creates a lot of dust and dirt.
It's huge. I'm glad you brought that
yeah.
up because there's not enough emphasis on PPE and all this stuff.
Right,
The first
yeah.
several years of me doing this, I didn't wear a mask. You know what I mean? It's nothing that there's anything in the actual products that's harmful to you if inhaled or ingested. It's the actual particles of the dust. And when you're talking about lungs, once it's breathed in, there's no exit. It don't come out. You can't fart that shit out.
You're talking about the aluminum, right?
Yeah, the aluminum, the actual particles of the dust, you know what I mean? Which is the same. It's transferred. So it's huge. Whether you're wearing a dust mask, a full face respirator, you got to, man.
So you think you got some of the original
I definitely got some of the original T88, and everything's still in here too.
Scientifically speaking, patients with Alzheimer's disease, they have a higher level of metal in their body. So obviously when he gets older, and myself included, probably you. You're already there. But
I'm right there. We're starting thinking of starting a Renegade diaper line.
You're going to
Personal, real quick.
You're going to forget it anyway. So
You sound just like my wife now.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, at least you remembered. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man, it's this industry's huge, and going back on that, it's a virtually untapped market. But at the same time, you're attracting a crowd of people that don't mind getting dirty.
Right. Okay. So is that a prerequisite? I mean, they're like, okay, let's just say 10 people take your class this month. What percentage of 10 people actually a year from now are going to be polishing, do you think?
I get a ton so my main demographic is detailers who are wanting to add these forge wheels and everything to their market, or some people
like as an added service.
Yeah, some guys that are working on big rigs. I do a lot of firemen come down and a lot of military come down. So most of the time they already have established businesses.
They're already serious about
There's a couple people out of that 10 maybe that are looking to go full time with this, and it's the only thing they'll be doing.
Right.
And that's when we come into play. And we don't just teach you how to sand or how to be safe or what not to do and what to do, the combinations of speeds. Right. Man, you get the business part of this. I know sports and I know this industry. So as far as advertising, what to expect when you're hiring, how to go get business, the whole business part of this is all part of the training
And
class.
you also teach even us on the Renegade end of it, people will, especially the newer polishers, will send us a DM or a message on Facebook and say, and this is a picture, for example, of something. It's like, how much should I charge to polish this? I'm like, okay, I have no idea.
Well,
that's what comes in with doing this so much.
Yeah, how much are you worth?
Yeah.
How much is your time valuable?
I mean,
how good are you?
Are you pricing basically like you want the show shine versus it's just an everyday shine? I mean,
to be honest, I have one fucking package, right? It's like even if the guy can afford $800 or $1,500. My guys are instructed to do the same exact thing. Whether I make as much profit as possible.
It's the Texas
finish. Because everyone's waiting for me to send something out that's burnt or fucked up with sand marks or anything like that. They're just waiting for me. All they do is post videos from every angle in direct sunlight. Yeah. That way I can put all that shit to bed and you can't cut, you know what I mean? So that's what I want to instill on these guys.
So it's kind of like your trademark.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's exactly what, that's why I say show shine every time, and I mean it.
Well, when I first started with Kevin, he used to say, if it don't shine, it ain't mine. Yeah, if it don't shine, it ain't mine. So
yeah, it's a great hashtag too.
If it don't shine, it's probably yours.
Yeah, probably the same.
That was one of y'all shot back at us. But remember, I put if it don't shine, it ain't mine, and his next hashtag was if it don't shine, it's probably yours.
Some good days.
Oh man, the hashtags alone, man. Madman could dish it and take it for sure.
Yeah, that's the old Madman. After he got castrated a couple of times, it was like he's just like hanging out now.
And that's another thing too, man. As the years went by and this bullshit happened, we seeing each other at shows. You see me quit being such a tight ass and an asshole. Same with you. You've kind of mellowed out, and all that drama and bullshit's kind of in the past. And it's like, okay, we're on to the next chapter in our life. And that's kind of what attracted me too to come back and at least entertain, what we wanted to do. Yeah. And after seeing what I saw yesterday, coming here and seeing this operation and everything, and being what a place is no shot at all. I said I was number one for a reason because I felt I was number one for a reason, and we at Zephyr took it as a whole. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I didn't know any different. I haven't been here. Yes. Seeing what I seen yesterday and going through and seeing the process and the assembly, the plant and everything here, the abrasive side, the bottling side, I don't see how you can be down the street saying you're number one for a reason and this operation's going on down here.
I appreciate that. And we obviously don't want to badmouth anybody. And that's not what it is. You're right.
You know what I mean?
But, for us, it's always been like, hey, even like, you said this one time to me, so, just keep, the old saying is keep your head down and your elbows up. Just keep working.
Yeah, that's
it's like keep working. That's, it's like at the end of the day, the hashtag is not going to matter. How many followers is not going to matter.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you doing out there? And
that's why I had like a hiatus off Instagram for almost a year and a half.
That's right.
You know what I mean? The youngster that I was kind of mentoring and everything had passed in a tragic accident, so it kind of pulled me off and closer to my family. When I get home every day, completely beat. I only have an hour or so for I'm just like gone. You know what I mean? I'll pass out black on the couch just because it's physically demanding, and it really pushed me more to my family to do more with the sports, really get these kids into different things. You know what I mean? So now that I'm back, I have some unreal content to share, like stuff that'll blow your mind.
We're all looking forward to that, definitely. Yeah.
I think a lot of people get satisfaction from being like credited off of Instagram and social media, versus real life. And I think if you feed into the influencers out there who are saying, oh, this is the best or whatever, if you get encompassed in that, you're just going to live for that versus real life, personally, I don't care what you think of me online or my work, because at the end of the day, my pockets are full.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. This is a business you can make some money on.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of money doing this. You know what I mean? And like you said, like I mentioned a couple of times, it's a virtually untapped market. Now you see around these other polishers coming up, but you can count on, I don't know, someone else's hands, because I'm missing so many fingertips, how many legitimate big operations are doing what we do, that are active on social media, you actually know, that are around the whole nation.
Yes.
So you got to think, there's one sprinkled here, there, you know what I mean? I'm not going to name names, but I know everyone. I've met everybody. I know what's going on. I know their shops, their operations, how it's going down. So there's so much room for movement and opportunity inside this industry. So don't be turned away because it's a dirty job, because the shit washes off.
Yeah,
and there's money in it. You know what I mean? And
no.
Look at the transportation industry. I don't compete with the guy 2 miles down the road with me. Lance has a wheel machine. He polishes down there. We don't bump heads.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's plenty of business out there. That's for sure. Just, I think, like you said, just focus on.
And it's in every industry.
Yeah, focus on
who
who
titanium for the military. We do horse trailers, semis, car parts, production wheels for Forgiato. Anything and everything. Porous metals are everywhere.
Aren't we supposed to polish Elon's? Is it Elon? Yeah, his spaceship.
Musk. Elon Musk.
I call him E Diddy. We're
cool supposed to polish his spaceship.
Get the fuck out!
for
Really?
the next launch.
Man,
Get the fuck out! Really?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, let you do some media on that.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
We may call you.
All right.
Like they say, everything is bigger in Texas.
That's what they say. Yeah. Hey, so without having you guys fluff Renegade, that's not what. My next question has nothing to do with trying to get some kind of I'm not looking for an infomercial type of answer, but as professionals, how important is the product in what you guys are doing? It's is it fuck that, I can shine with shit type of stuff?
Here's what it comes down to. I've made this joke many times. If prepped right and done right, I can fucking make a mirror shine with peanut butter, with toothpaste, something abrasive.
I've heard that toothpaste one before.
So not to be insulting, it's not the same when you're talking about the mixtures and the formulations of these compounds and everything. But as far as the friction and heat go, you can get the stuff to shine.
Yeah. But you can tell the difference.
You can definitely tell the difference
okay.
in the diverse lineup that you have, as well as the abrasives, all the liquids, the actual buffing wheels, the different sizes and everything too. It is very attractive for people like me that do what I do, because this is literally a one-stop shop.
Right. So is it that, okay, fine, you've got varying degrees of products out there in the marketplace for sure. You can make your product, you can get your shine regardless, right?
Right.
Is it that you are essentially, is it a time is money issue? It's if I use a higher quality product, I can save time, and that's really where the dollars are.
True. It is. When I'm working right now and I'm buffing, I'm making at least $150 an hour. That's stupid money. So when I'm doing it and I'm physically working, especially 15 years into doing this, I want to be using something that I have to use the least amount of effort and the least amount of product, because now you're talking about consumables and everything, especially when you get into sandpaper. So I think that's what really
yeah.
sets it apart with with your ceramic disc and stuff like that. That's going to be huge for us.
My question to you, Kevin, is how long have you been using Renegade?
Damn, how'd I know that was going to come up? All right, no bullshit. I've been using Renegade for the better part of the last year. So I would get stuff from him. It's not like I was calling around me and doing all this stuff, but I had a seed planted in the back of my head. That's why I always kept in contact with you. But I didn't want to come in here not knowing what the fuck I was stepping into.
I always watered it, maybe fertilizer at times, but it's a family business.
It is, and I do have to, thank Mr. Arthur for his, behind the scenes almost near continuous prodding of Kevin to get him come on.
It was. I'm a little guy, and pride is
I seen Kevin through the years, from meeting Kevin to dating, his sister-in-law to officially now we're engaged or whatever. But seeing Kevin and his talent, and then how he was treated elsewhere, and how I was treated, and I know he saw that, I always had product, I always went places, whatever, and then, hey, try this out, Kevin, here, try this, and hey, man.
Like I said, I'm a student of the game. I didn't have a contract where I was at over there. You know what I mean? So I tried these Minzernas. I tried these Marpols. I want to know what's going on in the industry.
That's your job. You have to know.
On the industry as
that's
far
part
as
of recon, definitely.
Product development, and all this stuff that I've been a part of for the last years. I know what's in it, and now I know how it's made, how it's formulated, and stuff like that. So now I can give my opinion of where I think I've worked with some of these chemists along the way, and that really gives me, I think, more of a footprint in the industry when a lot of these guys couldn't even name one ingredient, in some of this stuff like that. So I know what the hell I'm talking about, and and I love it. I'm passionate about this industry. This is what I'm doing.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
I also want to bring up again, a lot of people know what you do and how you guys do it, but you are known definitely on the scene. Because we see you at the shows at so many places. You're polishing at SEMA, you're polishing at Lone Star, for example. Did you polish at Daytona last year? I can't remember.
Not last year. No,
not last year.
Me and my wife.
Okay, so we see Kevin out and about, obviously mobile polishing
on the biggest platform. Yeah.
But you also have a machine, basically. At your shop, a wheel machine. Tell us about that and how important that is to you in the polishing process. And then I'm going to follow up. You can transition over to Brian and say, have you had a chance to, play around with that thing? Is that a part of your future? So let's start off with that.
Man, with us, the wheel machine was a must-have. Now it's paid off and stuff like that.
And that's a tiny machine, right?
Yeah, but here's the deal with that. I don't get the trailer full of wheels. Ideally, the guy that wants to have a machine is a guy that's really doing mostly wheels.
You got that turnover.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm doing a lot of stuff that has wheels, and I do a lot of, I would do blanks for people, and I would do some, dually production for Fulgiato.
You could polish a wheel with a grinder faster than the machine.
Oh, I can. That's the thing.
Is that
all
right?
My guys
really?
are the same way. By the time you can get that tire busted down, put on the machine, and everything is done, my guys have already prepped and are halfway through this thing. So, time is money.
Sure.
And then we have some of these, like lathes, these machine lathes that spin it and give you that same rotation, that same finish. That way you don't have the side-to-side hashing. And it just
are you talking like the wheel polishing stands?
Yeah, like the wheel polishing stands.
Or the holes, because usually they'll just...
Then they'll warp the holes. So most people are using wheel machines. They're like,
they're just grinding.
And, otherwise you'll warp the holes and bevel them on one side. But it really doesn't get as big a use as say, like Leon and everyone up in Idaho. They have trailers full of wheels that come in and they crank them out wheel. There's a guy hourly on the wheel machine every single day.
It's almost like a production work. Basically.
Yeah, but then I have two big lathes, polishing lathes that I use that get work every day.
Sure.
That I'll do trim, restoration. We'll do some hammer and dolling.
So some good old-fashioned back stands,
basically. Yeah, because I go down on the stand.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people say, well, I can't do the between the lug nuts and valve stem, mounted on the truck. And I would say that's when you go to Renegade and buy their heavy cut, because
that or invest in a compressor and take that off.
Heavy cut with a little bit of gasoline, 86 preferably. Mix a little bit, to stretch it out and rub it in. Do a little finger bang, they call it, and You can't even tell.
Hey, no, you said 86. Like, is that really a thing? 86 versus like 92 or something like that?
86
you can
octane, it's better.
You can tell the difference between.
Yeah. I can smell it and tell you. But and also, if you go to the pump, I mean, here in Cali, it's like $8 a gallon.
Holy shit, that
But
was
then
ridiculous.
The stuff you
I
obviously
don't think
use,
our gas stations over there even have the little 6 or the 5 or 7 to even hang up there for that
Oh,
price.
no way. Wow.
It's crazy.
It's good. I mean, they serve their purpose, but like Kevin said, if you're doing a trailer full of wheels, you know, and
So
that's your niche.
So that's not like even if Centex becomes your full-time gig, for
It
example.
won't.
But even if it was, it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, I have a dream of getting a wheeled machine. That's not really like
I think
Cool to have, but
I think it has its place. You know, if you were looking to travel and polish different canvases, you know, being not just trucks or whatever, if you just say, hey, I want to be stationary and I can bring in trailer full of wheels, whether you're reselling them or doing it for another company, a wheel machine would probably work because all you have to do is pick it up, put it on, you know, dab it here.
Would you prefer the wheel stand? Is this a lot easier, more user friendly?
Yeah, wheel stand for sure. You know, like myself, like I'm fully mobile. You know, I have a 30-foot trailer enclosed, built for polishing.
We both have trailers that are rigged out.
Like,
everything that we have in our shop are in the trailer.
Yeah,
whether it be power, lights, anything.
Do you have water in your trailer, or do you have
I
water
do now.
system?
I removed a rack and put a deal in there, a little 100-gallon tank that way I could acid wash or need to.
Yeah, like,
good RO water.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can do everything out of my trailer that, you know, say Kevin does in his shop, and he can do the same thing out of his shop into his trailer.
You got to be mobile. I mean, it
That's
depends
the name
on
of
what
the game,
contracts
yeah.
you got and all this stuff, but you got to be mobile. These guys are running around all day, so I'm mainly talking about the big rig market.
Right.
They don't want to be sitting at the polishing shop the one day a week they got off. So if you
For
come to
sure.
their house or to their shop and bang it out,
yeah.
not only can you charge more, you're convenient, and
and
then you move gradually into a shop. That way you're not trying to
that's
juggle
kind of
both
was
from
my
the beginning.
business plan starting was, you know what, I don't want to shop, you know, because I always move around, you know, and you know, I want to be mobile. I can go to you as a driver or say a lay down yard. Usually they have like a lot of these fleets, they have yards. Okay, you need to do truck X, Y, and Z. So I would drive over there
And just bang them out.
bang them out
Yeah.
in their yard. You know, there's no overhead there. It's
Right.
all profit. Can I charge more? Of course, because I'm
Yeah.
mobile. You know, obviously pulling a trailer and prices for fuel and the convenience fee, right? Because it's convenient for them.
For sure.
Or go to the driver's house, the owner operator who parks his truck at the end of his
for
dirt
sure.
road. I go
Yeah.
out there, pop a tent, knock the truck
Well,
out.
I gotta
and
tell you,
move
dude.
on.
If I was a owner operator, I'd much rather. I mean, I'll pay that convenience fee to
Yeah,
have you come. You know, like I'm.
That way I can sit my
Yeah.
ass on the
And,
couch
and
and
some,
do nothing.
and some
Totally.
drivers, some
Well done. I
drivers,
appreciate it. Yeah.
some drivers don't want to leave their trucks at your shop, you know, but they have like personal stuff in them or,
Sure,
or the fear
sure.
of what if something happens because, you know, as you know, in the market, well, we have a bad rap where everyone's, you know, on some type of substance, you know, so, you know, it gives a sense of security to the owner operator or the fleet owners
Right,
being
right.
mobile. And that's how I found my success, you know, and, you know, that's.
So how mobile is mobile for you guys? Like, you know, where's the territory?
Well, how big is your wallet?
Anywhere my truck can drive.
Yeah, if I can
I'll
drive
polish
there.
the freaking moon around me if it pays right.
Yeah.
I can't take the trailer.
Right. But like,
maybe
if you had a big contract in like Ohio, would that be in
already done.
play?
Yeah. You
I
can
mean,
literally, with
travel.
the amount of work that I have right now, I could put 50 people to work.
Oh,
right
wow.
now, I have that much work. You could spin me in any direction. I can go make 10,
Is
15
it
grand.
just difficult to find polishers that
It is. The same guys that have been with me for 4 or 5 years, I get up to, let's say, 8, 9 guys. Here I go back to
I think
4.
quality.
You know what I mean? And
I think the quality of people, you know,
you
because
gotta pay them.
So you guys are like basically everybody else in this economy. It's just tough to find.
It is. And
People that wanna-
if there's a job that's paying this and a job that's paying this, one you get black every day and one you get clean every day.
Yeah.
You got to somewhat like what you do to do
Yeah,
this. You
no,
know, I
for
have a couple
sure.
guys that are
Yeah.
on salary, and then I have several guys that are on a per piece deal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so they come to work every day being able to make as much money as they want to.
Yeah.
Right? If you come and don't do shit, you don't make money. If you come and bust your ass, you get a percentage of what you make, and the more you do, the more money
The
you
more
make.
you get.
yeah, I work by
You gotta
myself.
pay them for sure.
I'm used to being by myself.
Lone
you know?
wolf style, huh?
Yeah, I'm by myself. You know, I don't really need help. I mean, but my
But that's how
plate,
you are though.
Yeah, my plate of polishing isn't as in depth and busy as his. You know, I polish 1-2 trucks a week. You know, And you think about it, myself, mobile, going to these places,
Yeah.
you know, I'll charge $1,500 to $2,000 a truck, depending on the condition.
That's
so
great.
two trucks a week,
That's good money.
$4,000 a week,
Yeah.
and there's literally no overhead.
Hey, so we get a lot of these questions also from people, especially the beginners. All right, so I want to polish out let's just keep it to a bobtail for now. You know, the wheels, the tanks, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Well, how much compound do I need and how many buffs do I need? It's like, how do you answer that kind of question? Because I'm sure you guys get it also.
Yeah, you got to look at condition. Are you going to go try to cut it? Are you going to sand it first? Because if you sand it and prep your surface, you're not going to use as much compound. You're not going to use as much wear off your wheel. You're not going to, you know what I mean?
If you've
Depends.
done the
Are you
prep work ahead
assembling?
of time,
Are you disassembling this
Yeah, are
thing
you
where
dropping,
you can reach
are you
here?
dropping boxes?
Yeah.
You know?
So it depends. You know, we take a buffing wheel and I can do a whole truck off of one wheel and one bar of rouge.
No way.
I've done it before several
Wow.
times, and I can do it in 8 hours.
Yeah,
so
I
I
can
can
do
give
it.
you the time wise, but you got to have a certain process. You got to
Wow.
start with the wheels on the back wheels. Then you move to a grill where you need a little bit longer. Then you go to your tanks. As you wear down, you gradually get yourself to the diamond plate, and in the end, use the last little bit of that pad on the graded steps.
And did you
it's
learn
done.
all that in the education or the classes, or is that some of that self-taught also for you, Brian?
I think, obviously, I think common sense comes into play.
Sure.
Okay, hey, I'm going to polish a graded step first, but you need a longer wheel to reach into the drives or to bend around the grill, the headlights, you know?
Mhm.
So I think it comes into common sense when you predict how much pad or bar you're going to use. You know?
Especially starting out, like you said, these are questions from them. Well, they
Yeah.
don't really know. Now that we know, it's like it comes with the territory. Like I can, like you said about pricing or quality. Hey, why is it doing this? I can look at a picture and be like, oh, your RPM was too high. You know what I mean? I can diagnose it like my old man used to do. Hey, put the phone up next to the motor. Tighten the AC belt.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's how I can do it.
Yeah,
Polish.
I'll say I'm fortunate enough where, you know, if I touch a wheel, a tank, a grill, stainless steel breather, whatever, I use a new pad and bar every time.
Yeah, we don't have to do it anymore, but back in the day, we only had a few bars and a few pads to make stretch. You can make them stretch. Now I got hundreds of them sitting on the shelf in the drum of rouge, and it's like, all right, at what point do you say stop? But the same way, my guys are taught the wheel go down to like an 8, and it gets put in a section, and they'll go grab the new tanks, and then they'll wear that down. And they're not going to throw it away. If they got this much meat on it, it goes into the cart over here, and they'll use it for graded steps. So I appreciate I'll say I'll pay $6 to $8 a wheel or something. I've got my money a little bit of ways in. You know what I mean? So
I just think it's being smart. You know, you purchasing materials, you know, from your supplier. You just got to know where to use your pads, where to use, how much rouge to use. You know, and can you melt it away and be careless? Of course, but I think as a, you know, like Kevin said, the business side of it, you need to know where to allocate your products. You know, don't just get careless and just, you know, waste them, because obviously it's coming out of your pocket.
Exactly. I do have another question we get all the time. Also, we get polishers that will DM or call us and say, man, what is the stiffest airway buff you can make? And of course, our stiffest is, you know, it's either the red or the orange. They're very comparable. We color code them because, you know, one's for aluminum, one for stainless, but essentially they're almost the same thing. And especially in the hands of professionals like yourselves, you can make whatever work, honestly.
Man, yeah, you gotta think, at what point are you just shooting yourself in the foot? When you're trying to ask for a hard buff, when you can grab a couple pieces of sandpaper.
My question, that's exactly my question, especially, you know, on the education part of it, is like, I tell everybody, listen, if you know, and there are, obviously in the marketplace, there are very stiff, dipped airways. And
mainly for like steel, but like you said, a lot of that's not
they're using them
anymore.
for like aluminum. I'm like, listen, man, you save yourself a bunch of headaches and just do the prep work ahead of time.
Yeah, it's like painting a car. Prep work is key. Whatever you do, prepping or don't do prepping, you're going to see at the very end.
Yeah. I almost like refuse to make. I was like, you're just going to hate yourself and hate me after you run that wheel. It's like it's just you're going to do more damage.
It's impossible to keep coming on.
People always
so
ask,
it's just doing more harm than good, to be perfectly honest.
People always ask me, man, how do you get that clean finish or that bright of a shine? I said, man, it's all in the prep.
It's all prep.
So the prep, or a lot of people, they always want to do a quick two-step. You know, everyone's looking for a one-step now. Like, look, you make these things for a reason. These different bars to step it out, to break these lines out and bust down these hash marks and everything. So We're not just making 5 products because we want you to buy 5 versus 3. Each product actually has a process and different melting points, and you can see how they're working. And that's what a lot of these people don't understand when they don't get to see stuff like we get to see.
Well, but I know a guy in California and Arizona that does it in 20 minutes with one thing. Well, go drive your ass out to California or
by the time
Arizona.
you get back to Arizona, that shine's gone.
And I'll be here. And when you get back, guess what? The price went up.
Yeah, you couldn't compete with anybody. When I first started, my neighbor was a diesel mechanic and had semis, and he loved me, taught me everything. The dude was my mentor, taught me how to drive trucks, everything. But he wouldn't pay me to polish his truck because he ran to Eloy every week. And he got for 1 hour, 5 guys hop on the truck, $200. You know, he's like, man, these guys are just doing this to get high. They go back and do it the next day. You know what I mean? So you could go 4 or 5 times down there. I was charging $1,000 at a time. You go down there 4 or 5 times and get your truck polished every week for the price of mine. But then as the time goes by, he's like, man, you're about a compressor. You're pulling wheels off. You're sanding everything. Like, these little boys don't do none of that. I was like, well, this is why I'm charging what I am.
Yeah,
I'm building value.
We've been to a show before in Idaho, Rami, where there were some cattle pods there, and we were in a, was it a wheat field or
hayfield?
I thought it was razor wire, to be honest, because I was cut up all over my arms, chest, neck. But we pulled boxes off. We called a guy to come and drop
we called the tire guy, not because the guy asked, because that's what the hell we did.
I mean,
I pulled
it's kind of hard to have.
Drop headlights.
You
it's
only
just
know one way, you know. And
I'd rather not have to use your aggressive hand polish to finger bang on the back. You know what I mean? I'd much rather be able to get my machine back there. You know what I mean? And if I can pull 2 nuts off of the headlight housing and remove a light.
Well, that's a lot of finger banging and nuts. I don't know, like, is this conversation going somewhere else?
I mean, where you know, it is what it is. I think you get what you pay for.
Definitely.
That's the 2 things that I actually hate the most about polishing is the finger banging and the greatest steps. As those 2 things came up, man, oh man. It's kind of hard with a guy with no fingertips to finger bang.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, you know, not to toot your horn and Renegade and Maverick and, you know, whatever. But, you know, throughout my career, I always had like options when it comes to things in my arsenal, you know, whether it's my primary, my secondary, a backup plan, whatever, you know. And I think coming to Renegade, you always have something in your arsenal and products, whether it's above a bottle, a bar of rouge, that you can use to make your life easier. You know,
we're always on the innovative curve, no doubt.
You run into a pickle, you know, a problem on a piece of metal, and something isn't right, or why is it doing this? There's always something that I can walk into my trailer and say, you know what, I could probably just use this, you know?
Yeah, I think
that's exactly what we're just saying. Everything has its own purpose and own reason. That's why you make 3 different types of buff and blends.
Right. Yeah, you know what? I think what also has helped Renegade, you know, basically being a part of Maverick, is that, you know, our background is industrial. And so a lot of that, that technology and know-how and knowledge stuff I've seen over the years, we're able to bring into Renegade. And like even the triples alone, we have like formulas for like 25 different triples. We probably make 6 on a regular basis for different applications. And so, yeah, there's some economies of scale making 8 drums of T88 at one time. But also we recognize that, like, you know, Mr. Arthur or Mr. Clapp may at times say, hey, I need something a little greasier, a little drier.
It's depending on the weather.
Yeah, it's humid. It's going to be humid for the next couple, 3 months. I want, you know, that.
That's where the knowledge comes in of polishing. You know, you learn stuff like that, and you know, Kevin's class and Sean, I certainly did. Mm-hmm. So, you know, recently I contacted you and said, hey man, I need a dryer bar, you know, and then voila, here we are.
Yeah.
So that's what's good about Lubbock. Lubbock, the weather changes more in Anchorage, Alaska, and then Lubbock, Texas is number 2.
No shit.
Yeah. There's more days over 100 degrees, and there's also so many days below freezing. So we get the tornadoes, we get the ice, we get the snow.
Do you get humidity in your part of Texas?
It's not. It's real dry heat. It's similar, you know,
like Cali,
but it's 100 all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like 2 climates in one. So the stuff that we're helping develop and everything is working great, and the climates year round, it's almost it works great for everybody. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of these guys go based on our opinion, because we've tested it vigorously. Mm-hmm. And that's what's good about you guys. You guys stay ahead of the innovative curve. You're all, like I said, you got an in-house chemist. We're making everything and mixing everything in here itself. It's truly manufactured right here, everything that we do. So it's like, you got a guy on staff full time. Why not? A little bored, we don't have anything to do. Let's tweak this and play around with this a little bit. And man, look at the ultimate lineup of products you have.
Yeah, I hope you, like, when I told you, like, you didn't like, wow, who's been telling Mr. Thickbeard, he needs a dryer bar, But understand that, hey, for 3 years I've been polishing and picking his brain. And we work together sometimes on bigger projects and stuff, but I mean, we're separate entities,
Yeah.
I do my thing, he does his thing.
But you guys will collaborate sometimes.
Maybe a time or two a month. He'll bring a trailer over.
I mean, we do.
He's fully mobile, so there's times where, hell, it's just too damn hot, or the weather's coming in, or it's gonna rain. Hey, bring it over. I got plenty of room. We'll help you out.
Yeah. I'm a pretty intelligent guy.
If these guys have problems working and cross promoting, especially at these shows, they have problems working with each other because they let money get in the middle of it.
Yeah,
that's the easiest part. We break bread like Jesus said,
yeah.
And if you keep the money out of it, there's not a single problem.
Yeah, I think at LST and was that 2019? Obviously, I'm
2020?
19, the first year.
Oh, that was our first year.
Yeah.
Also,
So like, I went out to LST and Kevin was there with Renegade. I'm not Renegade, but. In his heart, he was with Renegade.
It's always been Renegade.
Yeah. But, he was there with Zephyr and his whole entourage and whatever. And people are like, man, why the hell are you working with Kevin? Why are you talking to Kevin? Why are you talking, in American Force Arena with Kevin? A lot of people didn't understand was, he's my fucking brother-in-law. Like, we worked well together, and I think I have the ability to push Kevin to be the best version of Kevin as a polisher. He equally pushes me to be the best fucking version, of a polisher that I could be. And we just constantly push each other and we want to see each other like thrive at polishing. And obviously he's done everything, everything in polishing. So great book.
Collaborations are, and we're obviously, you guys and a lot of people out there know how keen we are on collaboration.
Yeah, it's all about building a brand.
Right,
you build winning teams.
Winning
teams got to cross promote.
That's what I told you guys yesterday. It's like my we build championship teams. That's what
you can't be any grudges or malice. You know what I mean? It's got to be. When you join a team, you got to swallow your pride a little bit. You can't say you're all about the team, and every time something comes up, you got a little problem.
Right.
You want to go away.
I think that's an issue that I've seen. With. I'm not saying one side or the other, but a lot of people they're not open to having a team, A
lot of people don't really understand it. That's I think the advantage, there are a lot of advantages to social media, of course, but I think one of the advantages of social media that a lot of people tend to overlook is the ability to find like-minded content creators out there, like-minded partners out there that you can look I'll look at somebody and I'll start following him or her for several months before I make my initial outreach to say, hey, I've been watching you, and it's like, you would like to have a conversation. But it's not always that easy, and you touched on that. So what's your advice? What are your guys' advice to, and let's just stick to polishers right now, although you can expand it to, build manufacturers or other people in the market.
For like teamwork?
Teamwork, yeah. It's
team, right?
Yeah, because
together, everyone achieves more, right? The more people you have on your team, I think diversity comes in too, or experience years in. Like Kevin's seen it all, he's done it all. He's 100% has fucked up metal in his time polishing, And so, I think if
he knows what a fuck up looks like.
You got to. That's the best way you learn.
I used to call him, when he was still with Zephyr, and I used to call him literally, hey man, how the fuck do I fix this burn? I don't know why it's doing it, And the first thing Kevin said was, I bet you're using purple right now. And I was trying to shortcut it. So guess what I had to do? Sand it and fucking start
over. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, on a team, don't think you know everything. Be open to like constructive criticism.
A lot of it is a power struggle. You got to have chiefs and you got to have Indians. You know what I mean?
Is this an ego issue? You think? Is that just the
a lot
egos?
Of it is an ego issue, and a lot of this stuff is the wall is brought down, and you're more comfortable talking shit or being a whole different version of yourself on social media. Yeah. And then we come out to the show, and Kevin's the same asshole he is on social media, and nothing's changed about me. And now this guy can't even look you in the eyes. It's like, you gotta swallow your pride if you want to be a part of something bigger. You know what I mean? And it's not like it's not going to make or break you. You know what I mean? But being a part of something like this is just.
I think when you got a company like Renegade and a character like Rami orchestrating the circus, so to speak, is. You can't expect, as being a part of that quote unquote team, that you're going to be the only one in the limelight.
It's not a golf.
It's you're on a team, and I think you have to be open to everybody on your team,
That's huge, man, and that's what a big part about me when I went with Zephyr was part of building a team of the best polishers, seeing who's whooping on their old lady, who's doping, who's a thief, you know what I mean, who whatever. But you can build a team of the best, and then when you touch down to the place, look at the impact that we made at some of these huge shows when I bring this in, and and we're making some serious money, and we're bringing the best of the best out there, and it's all good until an ego or money gets in the way.
Starts creeping in.
And it's almost inevitable, especially from newer guys, because we're doing the same thing, and why does he get this and why does he get that? But you got to understand, I've been doing this at a high level for a very, very long time. I've done everything. I teach everything. You know what I mean? I work directly with the manufacturer, so that pulls a little bit more weight than you just doing forged wheels. Right. You know what I mean? So.
No disrespect to the forged wheels,
these TikTok polishers and their social media influencers that are just getting caught up in the algorithm are getting caught up with it. Hey, I'm a better polisher than you because I have 15 more thousand followers than you.
Yeah,
I'll quit the shut that.
I think I have maybe 500 or 800
followers.
Yeah. I don't really care about.
You guys brought up. Kevin, you brought up a very important part of that. It's like there is such a disproportionate chase.
Like a measuring scale.
They're like everybody's chasing those likes and chasing that followers count and everything like that, and which is fine. Like I understand that's a part of our world now. I totally dig it. But at the end of the day, man, you better have if all you've got is some likes and some followers, man, better have something to fall back on.
Rami, have you seen some of the influencers? Well, they're like, they lose their page.
Yes, absolutely.
All of a sudden, they're fucking lost.
All of a sudden,
they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like the world is in,
right.
And you understand. You're only, not to slander anyone or throw shade, but you're only a model on Instagram. In real life, what's
your trade?
Yeah, what do you have to bring other than if your first thing is 251,000 on Instagram before deleted? Like, who are you?
Yeah,
you have to be honest to yourself.
Yeah, you're right, man. If all those satellites fall out of the sky, you're still going to be polishing.
Now, if you're taking these 250,000 people and you have a Shopify store, and you're selling merch and all this stuff, that could be good.
Absolutely.
Now, a lot of people are taking advantage of this stuff too, but then you got the other guys that just have got good videos and have taken off. And then that's awesome. Keep it up. But at the same time, you got to stay in your lane.
Yeah, totally. I think
before you walk.
That's the big, always my concern, especially for the people that I deal with. My team is like, okay, yeah, great. You've got a great following, and you're young and you're beautiful, and people want to see what you do and what you're looking about. Like,
you're damn right.
That's a very competitive environment, man. I mean, it's like when you're 25 and you're everything's in the right spot, perfect. But like when you get into like the mid 30s, it's like, man, there's that whole next crop of beauty is coming in, and it's like you need to I'm trying to position my team, especially the girls, to be more than just, hey, I'm relying on my physical assets to move me forward, and just actually do some brand building and brand management, so that like when you are out there in the mid 30s and beyond, there's still some longevity to your career.
A lot of that, man, I've compared a lot of this to as far as like training these guys and really developing the next generation of polishers to the hand pinstriping industry. Everybody that you see does this. There's a couple of young ladies doing it now, like Lady Lines and these other people that have picked up the craft.
Correct.
But for the most part, it's a dying breed. These guys are 80 years old, shaking and everything.
Yeah.
So I want there to be that bridging gap where we don't train these polishers to do what we do before these machines come in and take over and everything's fully automated. You know what I mean? So it's like, look, where's a gap here where you guys can really, really take advantage now that you've seen this, what we do has been brought to the spotlight now. These people didn't know you could have a grinder and do all this stuff like that. So when I say we're training people, we're really changing some people's lives.
So you don't see there will always be a need for a guy or a gal to pick up that trade, that grinding trade. Like in spite of the automated, like you guys probably know the Vis machines, right? Beautiful machines, automated. Just basically push a button, make sure nothing blows up, just stand there.
But you still have to break the tire down. You got to load it. You got to mount.
Right, exactly. You still got to do all that.
Still some part of it, even in the automated ones.
So even like within your world, within your even like we'll call it mobile polishing world, I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon.
No, all the manufacturing work was really what I'm hitting with. Some of the stainless stuff that's coming out of the factory and all this stuff. You see everything now is getting replaced by a machine. But once it's out in the world and it's circulated and it's owned by someone else, but it's out of the dealership, that'll never go away.
Yeah, I think as long as it's produced where it can have a very high luster point, somebody's always going to want to shine.
So
it's not a necessity; it's a want.
You got to understand polishing. The people you deal with, who whatever industry, whatever truck, wheel, whatever, you're dealing with a very specific group of people. They want to look good, so they're going to pay you to make them look good.
And now I want to ask you guys. Okay, so obviously all this incredible metal on these machines, on this equipment, needs to be maintained and upkept. Like, why has not the industry moved? And you guys would know because you talk to drivers way more often than I do. Why isn't just everything just like we see in the motorcycle industry or in the automotive? Everything just like powder coated, or everything's just black, or everything like to reduce that necessity to keep everything bright. Why hasn't that happened?
Do you remember?
I use the term dick measuring contest.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when you get into some of this big rig and trailers and stuff. Like I got a full cattle pod in my truck, my shop right now. That as soon as it leaves, being coated and all, it's just going to be totally abused. It's going to be pissed and shit on the whole thing. So why is this dude's always wanted one? You know what I mean? So it's just like,
I think if you buy a depreciating asset, i.e. a truck, obviously, well, I'll say big rig because it can potentially make you money, but like a regular truck, a lifted truck, lower truck, in 3-4 years, it's going to be the old model with the old new stuff on it. So I think people keep, in my opinion, a lot of the polished stuff, people keep it that way because the shine will never go away, ever.
Yeah, you're
saying that's intentional then on the owner operators or truck owners and so forth. Like, hey, I want that aluminum and I want that stainless on it because I just like that.
I've seen a faded, ugly Peterbilt that I polished out. It looked so clean afterwards. Yeah. It's just metal,
And don't get it twisted. These guys are making good money. You know what I mean? So these are the things they want. You're looking
pride
at
of ownership.
Pride
of ownership, basically.
Yeah, pride in your ride, like you see on the big rig circuit. It's just pride in your ride, and it just on a bigger scale when we're talking about semis.
Would you call a busted, dirty line of trucks to haul your material, or would you have the shiny, clean whips?
Yeah, we get an example a lot. I got 2 customers right here. They're trying to get this big sand hauling contract. Right. This is Raul, Texas Chrome Shop. Right. Remember? So I was doing all his pneumatics. Now, you got one of the biggest contracts in the whole entire oil field, and now they have these 2 companies. They can both haul at some rates, but one guy has a fully custom truck and a fully polished trailer, a whole fleet of them.
Very impressive.
Who do you want hauling your product?
Very impressive, yeah. You're right. We got a lot of trucks.
So you can justify it very easily.
Totally. We get trucks that are in and out of our bay all the time, picking up and dropping off stuff. And it's like, so we'll see the common carriers pull up. It's like, okay. But sometimes we'll see a nice looking Peterbilt or something. It's like, oh, go down there, check that out, and take a picture.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And on the business side of, if you are getting polished, if you own a business, not just for leisure, but if you own a business and you're doing it, polishing on a mass quantity, it's a write-off.
Oh yeah.
It's
a lot of people didn't even know you could do some of this.
Maintenance, vehicle maintenance. Depreciating over to say.
And with everybody on your phone, now you can see, oh man, there's a self-loading clerk up. Oh man, this is some stuff that works on rust. Oh man, this works here. You know what I mean? So you can take advantage of those different things.
I dig it. What are the topics we want to cover, guys? You want to talk some more about your
well,
We got some shows coming up and some
let's talk
plans for
some
some new
shows. Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
shows. I mean,
Yeah, let's talk shows.
well, I guess a big question was,
Yeah, for sure.
Since Kevin and I always work together,
Uh-huh.
would like the audience, Renegade
Yeah.
followers, I guess, or those who don't, they just want quality work, be interested in like Renegade having their own ordeal in a parking lot, exclusively Renegade
You mean
polishing,
like a-
detailing.
We tried that once. I have to be totally honest with you. I don't think Renegade, we are, yes, we are manufacturers of polishing and detailing products, but in all candidness, we will never have the type of attention to detail that an actual polisher will have.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been selling industrial polishing supplies, buffs and compounds pretty much my whole life. Okay. And I have to be totally candid with you. I look at, two guys producing a finish and, you can tell the difference between your finish and his finish, but I can't. So for me to be able to manage a lot that way, I don't think is really, so I'm not qualified to do it. I would rather, in my opinion, I'd rather say, hey, Renegade doesn't have a problem either purchasing the real estate at a show, for example, or sponsoring a detailing area or something like that, and then bring in our people like you guys, maybe a couple of details and so forth, and say, hey, this is where the Renegade family is doing the polishing and the detailing. And I would prefer then to market the that to the community leading up into the show, so that if somebody does need polishing and or detailing, it's like, hey, go hit up the boys. They're over there and they'll take care of
And
you.
that's what has happened. Like, you know what I mean? I'm involved with all these big builders, like Tweety and all these guys, you know what I mean? So they trust me because they're local customers of mine. They trust me to work on their top-notch builds that are seen across the world. They trust me. And then his buddy's like, hey, do mine too. And then we ended up taking, we started moving, doing stuff for American Force. We did stuff for JTX, all these companies, you know what I mean? Like that. They can't have anyone mess their stuff up there. Absolutely cannot be any of that. It's way too much money at a time, at a show and everything. So they want the best of the best on their stuff. Yeah. And now as we go around, they can do that. They can compare those finishes and they're like, hey, why does my wheels, I just paid this much money. Why do my wheels don't look like that?
Well, I think, obviously being polishing wheels, Kevin, like we both know that every manufacturer of billet wheels, the metal's not always the same.
Exactly.
So
you're talking specifically forged, right?
Yeah. Forged, correct. You're not going to get, you're not going to get the same shine out of cast metal that you would out of a fully billet wheel.
So you need to know the differences in your types of aluminum.
Yeah, the types of aluminum,
types
like
of stainless.
American Forged, JTX.
A lot of these guys are coming. They're coming the same blanks. They're coming from China as the same blank. So in their prep process, in their house, you know what I mean? They have different things that they're doing that once it comes out and now it's oxidized and dirty, we know the companies that have the better metal, the ones that are easier to polish, the ones who have the quality machining and everything like that. And then we want to tie ourselves to those brands. That's why you see me at these shows rubbing shoulders with all these guys. And you do it so often. You travel around the nation, you go out with them after the shows, you become friends, and that shit just snowballs. And I've really met some really cool people, work with some really cool companies.
Yeah,
doing this, so.
yeah. You know what? I enjoy the shows too. I mean, I get to, it's an opportunity for me to, like you said, rub shoulders, talk to people. I'm fortunate to have a good show team. John, who does both show management at the shows and does photography. Jordan, of course, has been coming along now to some of the shows for the videos. I want to say a quick shout out to, of course, Chelsea, who really runs the booths as well. Lacey's there almost all the time. It's a great group of individuals that have come together. And that's why I enjoy them, because I get to trust them to do what they need to do, and that allows me to...
You can't be everywhere. You need to go shaking hands and kissing babies sometimes, and this needs to be something that is handled. Sure. And that's what's good about having us. They have a good wide variety of different people, and better than that is we all know our role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me to have, for example, you two at a show, I mean, you're an extension of our brand. You're my ambassador. It's like, I'm like, hey, go see Kevin or Brian
That's what
at
you
the
want.
lot.
Like you said earlier, like I don't know the difference in the finishes and I don't know stuff like that. So you got to bring in people like us that are sharp-minded and actually take this serious and get our opinion on the products, the differences, because there's some things that you're not going to see unless you get out there and do it.
Totally. And I don't want to lie to the community and say, I know everything about everything. It's like, no, I don't. I'm like, I know what's inside this bottle. Yeah, for sure. I can talk chemistry and water content and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like, the actual like day-to-day use, like I am not a professional polisher or a professional detailer. You guys just have your ways of doing stuff that will just
we're just the bridge to the consumer. You know what I mean? And
so
once we can fast forward, like going back to the training, is it's not as much as you are learning what to do as much as what not to do.
Totally.
You know what I mean? You can fast forward 10 years and 3 days. That way, all this learning on yourself and everything. So it's like,
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna just wrap it up by kind of giving you guys any last comments or questions you want to throw out. Anything or questions even. Usually I'm asking all the questions, but if you guys have any questions, feel free. It's like it's a conversation, so it's like let it loose for forever now.
I want to say to those who are definitely watching both of the brands that I've been a part of, don't be afraid to reach out to me if you still have those questions. Some of these people have quit asking me questions and reaching out because I've switched brands. You know what I mean? And that doesn't affect who Kevin is. Kevin's the guy that wants to help and everything too. Yeah. So when it comes down to it, I don't care what you use. Make what's right for your customers. What you like, what works best for you. Use what you use, but you got to understand too at the same time, you want to be. You'd like to be a part of the companies actually making with it. And it's something like you that believes in your product and believes in some of these people that give opportunities to showcase them at these shows and stuff like that. It's pretty gratifying, and it's honoring that you actually do, after everything we've been through and trusting us and and believing us to rep your brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so. Sure. I think it's big. That's big for me, and especially coming from our rough past. But if me and you can push through it and do it, why the hell can't they?
Yeah, that's kind of my philosophy is like, and I know it's going to sound cliche-ish, but like if you're just driving, looking in the rearview mirror, man, that's just going to be a disaster. Yeah. You got to see what's ahead of you. Just focus on and the other thing I've learned as a manager, not only manager of my organization, but a self-manager, is that, sometimes it's okay to say, I fucked up. I gotta make that call or change my mind. I gotta swallow my pride and say, you know what, I did make a mistake, or I said the wrong thing, or whatever it is. That's really difficult for a lot of people to do on the self-management and self-growth.
You as human can't expect to make the right decision every single time. You gotta humble yourself and know when to, like you said, made a mistake. I could have been here years ago, and no telling where I'd be at right now. At the same time, I wouldn't have had some of these relationships that I developed when I was over there, and especially on the show scene, stuff like that too. So.
Yeah, and it's not like Renegade has asked Kevin to sever his relationships with people who don't buy Renegade. On the contrary, like we're forward thinking. It's like, great, you know what? Use Renegade, use Zephyr, use whoever product you want to use. That's a product issue. The personal portion of it is, just keep that like between you guys as friends, or all of us as friends.
I think maturity plays a factor in that as well.
Yeah, we were definitely immature too back in the day, acting foolish. Our shit's better, you suck, but it's in every single industry.
Yeah, it is, and we grew up in that, like really the growth of Instagram. We were there at that time. We kind of started like just turning into something, and we just happened to be a part of all at that time. And 15, 16, and 17, and we were no different than a lot of other people.
You believe in your product. Yeah. You put it out, you put the labels on, you believe in your product. So, you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard not to be passionate about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like,
I believe in the man who has enough money to, acquire companies. That's what I believe in.
Well, that there, acquisitions are an important part of our growth. Definitely, like we see things that are, like
beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an important part of what we do, an important set of product or choices that we can bring to our community. Yeah, we're going to pursue that. That's definitely what we do.
For sure.
But again, self-management, like I said to all of you guys out there, guys and gals, it's like just. Sometimes it's okay, to look in the mirror and say, yeah, you know what, you fucked up. Let's go fix it now, because the longer you hold on to an archaic decision that you made a week, a day, a year ago, but it's just gonna set you back. But just move forward, and that's just all that really matters.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at now. We're forward, and now I'm just excited to look and see what this new endeavor and this new chapter in my life entails. Because I think that literally I can't see it. The sky's the limit because we put people on the moon. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, and even I will tell the audience, like I knew, like, when you saw this plant, I knew you would, like, okay, I see what you're doing now, and
it was huge. And even before we even talked about ever making a deal, he knows I'm in Cali already.
Like,
and
dude,
like,
come
hey,
see me.
Dude, just set your couple hours back, change your flight, come check out the place. I'm not saying you got to leave and sign a deal right now. Come check out our operation, man. Check it out. And I feel like if I would have done that, I'd probably been there a little bit ago.
I think, that's important to me. Again, like, a lot of the close partners that I have, it's very important for them to come through my factory. Don't only see what we do and how we do, but like understanding, like, that ties into the entire Renegade culture of what we do, basically. It's like, again, a cliche, but like we are, and I tell my people all the time, we're not a product company. We, anybody can make product or even sell product. In today's world, you can have me make stuff for you and you're a product. But what it comes down to essentially is the imaging, the branding, and the service that you are giving the people out there, like the value essentially that you are providing the community. And that's when I felt like, bringing you and Brian here, take a look at what we're doing. Like, you guys will understand, what that mentality is that I try to push all the time at the shows.
No doubt. It's definitely, you can see it as soon as you walk through the front door.
It's definitely a step above most people.
No, I appreciate
or
that.
Other people.
Well, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you, Kevin Clapp and Abdul Thickbeard, for joining us here. You guys are, great supporters, great, friends. I want to thank you for the partnership, the opportunity to move this forward. And I think, we're just going to have a fucking fun time doing it. And that's the important thing.
Coming to a show near you.
Yeah. Look forward to it, man.